Welcome back. Welcome back. Shout out to my new subscribers. I really appreciate y'all. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. We going back to Minneapolis. This don't make no damn sense. These people are insane and lunatics. If you want illegals and you want to stand up for them, put them in your house. You pay all the medical and all that kind of stuff. This is insane, and the people that captured. But we're gonna talk about the man Alex Preddy that was unalive. This from the fake news, CNN. This is their analysis. Let's see what they say. Let me see if I can get it.
Federal immigration officers fatally shot a man Saturday in Minneapolis. He was an ICU nurse who worked at a local Veteran Affairs hospital. Another controversial killing by U.S. immigration agents, and the second U.S. citizen killed this month. CNN analyzed cell phone footage from multiple angles. Taken together, they appear at odds with the Department of Homeland Security's initial claims about the lead up to officers firing on Alex Preddy. Around 9 a.m. Central, video captures two people approaching a federal immigration officer in front of an unidentified vehicle. The sound of whistles is blaring in the background.
This is
Alex Preddy
insane.
enters the frame here. He's filming an officer interacting with protesters and waving a car through. 15 seconds later, Preddy yells. In their statement, DHS said that an individual approached officers with, quote, a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. This video seems to show officers approaching Preddy instead of the other way around. We'll see later that Preddy does appear to have had a gun in his waistband, but this video shows he didn't have a gun in his hand, only a phone. Video from this white car shows an up-close angle of a federal immigration officer pushing one protester. Then, 3 seconds later, he pushes Preddy. And then as the camera comes into focus, you see the same federal officer push a third protester with the orange backpack. Preddy raises his hand and turns away, just as the officer sprays him with a chemical irritant. You see Preddy and the other protester trying to help the person with the orange backpack. You can see here an officer pulling Preddy off of this person. 3 more officers join, and then 2 more. Preddy is on the ground under them. One officer in a tan beanie can be seen repeatedly striking Preddy's head with a metal can. You can see an officer in a gray jacket walk into the frame. There isn't a gun in his hand. Seconds later, officers shout. The officer removes a gun from Preddy's belt. The officer steps away from the scene carrying a firearm, seen here in his right hand. Then, gunfire.
So they're saying that he had a phone, but he did have a gun. So they're saying he had a phone in his hand. So now Clinton and Obama urged Americans to stand up. Clinton, you need to sit your Epstein 79 going ass down. You like little girls, allegedly. So, Waltz, Tampon Tim, he spoke, but a U.S. District Court judge granted a temporary restraining order saying the federal government must preserve all evidence relating to the fatal shooting of 37-year-old Alex Preddy. Residents in the Twin Cities community, as well as people across the country, held vigils in his honor. One thing about it, this ain't black folk fight. This is the first time in history it ain't about us. And we need to stay the hell out of this. Governor Walz implored President Trump to end the surge of Border Patrol and ICE agents in the state, saying the discussion has moved beyond politics and is now about basic human decency. Y'all want to get away from that $9 to $18 billion of fraud that's been committed under you. That's what you're trying to do, but it ain't going to work. Now, it is unfortunate that someone else lost their life, but y'all protesting to help illegals. I mean, it's unbelievable to me. And it's insane. But you know what I would do on my mama? Like Megan Kelly came out and said, just pull all the ICE agents for all federal agents out of Minneapolis. I would make a public service announcement. We pulling everybody out Minneapolis on its own, but it's a all free zone for illegals. I suggest that y'all head to Minneapolis because they gonna protect you. You go there, and if you need a ride there, call this 1-800 number. We gonna pick you up and let you out at the border in Minneapolis, and let them people be on their own. Just fuck them, fuck them. That's how I feel about it. Pull them out, fuck them. Let them deal with it. See how that gets you. Put all the pedos and the 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 grapers and the unalive. Just send them all there. Send them all there. It's a free zone. That's what I would do. I'm with Megan Kelly on that one. And I wouldn't give them a dime. Oh, let me do something real quick. I know that people will be hurt by that vote, and we worked very. While you being accused of paying that man to unalive this lady, oh, I was dealing with ICE. And you got everything happening in Minneapolis. So let me get back to ICE because I was gonna do something else, but I'm not.
Welcome to another episode of the Attorney Sekou podcast, where law meets life, stories turn into journeys, and journeys create legends. I'm your host, Sekou Clark, and looking forward for you to joining me today. Number. What does that mean? And what's the impact of that for you if you are undocumented or your status is shaky? Is that once your social security number gets canceled, it means you are now in a financial crisis. Your accounts, your credit cards, and everything that is related to your social security will no longer be accessible. How are they going to do that? Right? So there's something called a death master file, right, that the social security has, in which if someone has died, they pretty much kill, no pun intended, they pretty much kill your social security so that nobody else can use it. People can't use it to vote, or people can't use it to gain any new financial access or financial resources. So now, undocumented immigrants will now be placed into that death file, which it's lights out. It's going to be a financial crisis. And one would wonder, if I spent this much energy on so many other things, right, to use these type of resources to go after these people. Just imagine, we could possibly have free healthcare at some point, right? So, a lot's going on. We now have the power couple of ICE and IRS, and they brought in their third wheel, which is the Social Security. But let's make it a little bit lighter, right? Come on. So there's no an ICE tip line. So the ICE tip line was made if you suspect any type of undocumented immigrants or anything related to immigration, you can call that number and report that person. But guess what happened? Apparently, people thought it would be completely funny to use that tip line to report the acting vice president, Elon Musk. So the line has been blowing up to the point where it was actually shut down because of all the prank calls of people saying, hey, we have to report.
That's a damn shame. I sent emails about Amazon. Oh shit. I ain't mean to. Oh man, I ain't mean to do that. Oh, I sure didn't mean to do that.
Welcome to another episode. Exactly. All right, so thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How has Florida been treating you?
Pretty good, pretty good. The weather is good. My mom was born in Côte d'Ivoire.
Okay.
Because my grandparents just moved.
Okay, we not. So I'm gonna come back to this video.
As well.
I thought that was something else.
Tonight, after a group of day laborers was taken into custody during a federal raid at a Home Depot, witnesses say Border Patrol agents, both in marked and unmarked vehicles, took 15 to 20.
So ICE is now raiding places like Home Depot, looking for people in the country illegally with a criminal
This is
record.
Cash Jordan.
This is the first such raid caught on camera. Day laborers across the country are bracing themselves for what comes next, because at any moment, out of nowhere, ICE agents could show up in force, causing those afraid of deportation to stay away from places like this.
Federal agents conducted a surprise raid on the parking lot. Video shared with NBC4 shows multiple cars. The agents went straight for the group of day laborers gathered in the parking lot, says this day laborer who asked to remain anonymous.
Immigrant rights advocates quickly responding. We're only here to support ourselves and to maintain our families.
It is not a crime to look for work. It is not a crime to be a day laborer.
The Southside Home Depot is at the center of growing community frustration. Customers and neighbors say the store has become a magnet for migrant loitering and harassment.
Some residents tell us they no longer feel safe visiting this store. They're calling on the city and on Home Depot to step in.
The men, all are sick, and they're asking you, can I clean your car? Can I wash your windshield? They like waving their hands for you to stop.
They arrested a couple of these guys. These guys are not bad people.
Agents were targeting one undocumented individual with an active arrest warrant. Some of those detained had prior charges, including assault with a deadly weapon.
So more than a dozen people were detained in an ICE raid at a Home Depot in California. But what nobody's talking about is that although a raid like this could happen at any Home Depot or any business in America, ICE doesn't go to places like this because they're just there to get whoever's in the parking lot. No, instead ICE prefers to do targeted operations, not mass indiscriminate sweeps. Which means if agents show up somewhere, you better believe they've got a good reason for doing so. As the prevalence of illegal day laborers isn't something unique to Home Depots in California or New York, or even at other businesses like delis and convenience stores that don't want to hire people for minimum wage. In fact, if ICE were to conduct sweeps, they'd have no shortage of locations to choose from. In fact, there's a particular Home Depot in Chicago neighbors say is completely overwhelmed with illegal day laborers. But ICE isn't headed there, and they don't have the resources to be everywhere at once. Instead, they've got to pick and choose where to go and who to go after, a tactic that mirrors something we've seen them do in New York at some of the city's notorious asylum shelters. And that brings us to the real reason ICE agents could show up at any business like this anywhere in America. And person
Right.
they're after is a danger to everyone around them.
Exactly.
These agents have received reports of dangerous activity taking place that presents an imminent public safety threat, because even though people loitering outside Home Depot parking lots might just look like typical off-the-books workers, some may have a frightening criminal past. And as you're about to see, their future plans have nothing to do with the American dream. So here we are at a Home Depot, and if you're looking for work as a day laborer, it's not really a secret that this can be a good place to find it, especially in New York City, where there are millions of apartments to repair, hundreds of thousands of buildings falling apart, and where every construction crew always seems to be a bit short-handed. But with ICE now raiding places like this, that's got some folks worried that if they come here, they could get deported.
Yesterday, federal agents conducted a surprise raid on the parking lot. Video shared with NBC4 shows multiple cars, some marked as Border Patrol and others unmarked. One clip shows people sitting on the sidewalk surrounded by federal agents. The agents went straight for the group of day laborers gathered in the parking lot, says this day laborer.
So that was footage of a raid that looks to have been a joint operation between ICE and Border Patrol in Pomona, California. And after the raid took place, so-called immigration advocates showed up in force to protest ICE's presence there, demanding that the authorities stop doing their jobs and leave their city, claiming that arresting a person who's just trying to make a living is wrong. Which it is, but that's not what happened. And these protesters either have no idea or don't want to have any idea why ICE was at that Home Depot in the first place. But one thing's for sure, these activists are totally against the idea of someone coming into the country illegally and then being kicked out for doing so.
You can't make this shit up.
To maintain our families. Activists say agents took about 15 to 20 day laborers. It is not a crime to look for work. It is not a crime to be a day laborer.
Right, so activists are framing this as if people who are just out there trying to make a living are being wrongfully arrested and taken away.
Insane.
But even though that might be true today, it doesn't mean that some of these folks weren't out there committing crimes and they still have active warrants from stuff they've done in the past in this country. And the other advocate, the woman, she's right. It's not a crime to be a day laborer, but it most certainly is a crime to illegally work for someone who doesn't abide by any laws when they hire you. And outside of these businesses, you've got entire illegal labor markets where people are picked up and sent to work in conditions that would never pass city or state certification and could even be dangerous or hazardous without any safety precautions taken whatsoever, all for less than fair minimum wage. But now the question is, why would ICE go to this one particular Home Depot to the exclusion of any other Home Depot in America?
According to the Department of Homeland Security, agents were targeting one undocumented individual with an active arrest warrant. In the process, they say they arrested 9 other undocumented individuals. DHS says some of those detained had prior charges, including assault with a deadly weapon, immigration violation.
So while you've got immigration advocates saying that the people who are getting arrested aren't bad people,
Right.
you find out that many of these folks have horrendous criminal records, and some of them even have outstanding warrants.
Facts.
They do sound like bad people. And if those people weren't in the country illegally, nobody would be complaining that they got arrested.
Exactly.
They had prior charges for endangering a young person, and still others had been driving vehicles when they were not right to do so. And you know something? ICE did this community a favor. They got people off the streets who shouldn't have been on them to begin with. And
Facts.
they're living in a society that just allowed.
And these are the people that you protected. It's unfucking believable. You can't make this up. Then a Haitian woman died in custody.
A Haitian woman has died in ICE custody in Florida. Hello, everyone. This is Attorney Andre McKinney Dorval. I am a licensed immigration attorney. I am located in the state of Florida. Guys, this is a tragedy that should never happen. A 44-year-old woman, Haitian woman by the name of Marie-Ange Blaise. She died on April 25th at the Broward Transitional Center, which is in Pompano Beach, Florida. It is an ICE detention center. Now, what ICE has stated as far as her death, her death occurred 8:35 p.m. on April 25th, as I stated. We do not know the cause of death or what led up to her death. What ICE has shared with the public is that Ms. Blaze entered the U.S. without inspection or admission or parole on some unknown date. She encountered Customs and Border Patrol on February 12th at an airport in St. Croix while trying to board a flight to Charlotte, North Carolina. She was given an expedited notice of expedited removal the very same day. She was then transferred to an ICE custody facility on February 14th in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Later, she was moved to Richwood Correctional Center in Louisiana, and then transferred to Broward Transitional Center, also known as BTC, on April 5th. Now, after her death, ICE has stated they notified all the officials. What we do not know at this moment is that whether or not, one, she received any kind of medical treatment for any medical conditions that she may have had.
Listen, I will say this about Haitians. Haitians are the only people that have the right to seek asylum because of what's going on in their country. The rest of these people are not under war conditions. That's what I'll say.
Hey everybody, and welcome. I welcome everyone here. My name is Gary Ripper.
And my thing is, why is all this only happening in blue cities? Why are only blue cities having this? Because guess what? The red cities, they cooperate with ICE. They honor their detainers. They let them in to get the people they want. You don't see this, and you wouldn't see this in Florida, Texas. You don't see any of that. They help, not defy. And these are still federal officers. This is insane, the mentality.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome. I welcome everyone here. My name is Gary Ripper.
This is in Florida.
I'm the Executive Associate Director for ICE ERO, and I welcome everyone here. More importantly, I want to recognize all of our state, local, and federal partners for this historic event, Operation Tidal Wave, which has been a
January 20th, President Trump has made a commitment to the American people to prioritize public safety as well as national security. And everything we do at ICE is to prioritize those things. And this operation really is a historic marker of success that was made possible because of the partnership with the state of Florida, allowing us to activate our 287G officers and activating over 250 local and state law enforcement, as well as National Guard, to assist our federal partners. And I want to thank Governor DeSantis for his commitment to be able to put this operation on for the last week. And together we are able to conduct over 1,100 arrests and remove several violent gang members from the communities here in Florida. Operation Tidal Wave is truly a first of its kind operation, utilizing 287G resources, integrating with the state and local law enforcement to assist in the day-to-day ICE mission. While this may be the first 287G operation of its kind, thanks to the governor, it's not going to be the last. President Trump, Secretary Noem, and ICE are committed to these large-scale operations to be able to keep our communities safe, because we will not stop until our American families and everyday Americans are safe in their own communities, because we have zero tolerance for criminal, illegal aliens. I want to also highlight some of the historic arrests that were made by our 287G partners, including a Brazilian national that has a history of aggravated assault. We have a Mexican national taken into custody whose history includes kidnapping. And we also have Colombian nationals who were convicted of murder that we were able to take off of the street thanks to the men and women of ICE, our federal partners, as well as our state and local officers who dedicate themselves every single day to keeping the American people and the people of Florida safe. I'd also like to thank our partners here at Operation Tidal Wave, including the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the Florida Department of Emergency Management, the Florida Highway Patrol, the Florida National Guard, Secretary known for their continued leadership and commitment to the American people. Thank you.
All right, and moving on, our great governor of Florida, Mr. Ron DeSantis.
And I like DeSantis.
Well, thank you. 4 years ago, we had seen something that we had never seen in American history. We had a president, Joe Biden, that opened the border and basically declared that people could come illegally. Interior enforcement was rendered basically null and void, and this was impacting not just the southern border region of Texas or Arizona, but communities all across the country, including in the state of Florida. And so,
Yeah. But these are the people that you're protecting by these protests. They have 1,100 arrested.
Recently, Governor Evers issued a new directive
This
to
is
state employees
paralegal.
if ICE agents were to show up at a state building.
A few moments later.
Why not just arrest the leaders who are harboring and shielding illegal aliens, actually terrorists, from deportation? Wait to see what's coming.
and we are back, and we're back, y'all.
This is
Thank you for watching
paralegal.
today. Go ahead and hit that like. Now, y'all, we've all. I just had a 2-month-old. Have to make sure we leaving something for the next generation. So if you're interested, y'all go fill out the inquiry form in the description, and Augusta Gold will.
U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi Friday on Fox News.
We looked into the facts in great depth. That's her picture up on the screen, Hannah Dugan, who is now in custody. You cannot obstruct a criminal case, and really, shame on her. It was a domestic violence case of all cases, and she's protecting a criminal defendant over victims of crime.
Facts.
Recently, Governor Evers issued a new directive to state employees if ICE agents were to show up at a state building. Congressman Tom Tiffany on the arrest saying, if you help illegal aliens evade arrest, you will be arrested. State employees think twice before following Governor Evers' illegal memo.
Now, Governor Evers went to the news recently to try to justify and explain his position. I would like for y'all to let me know in the comments, do you agree with Evers? He seems to want to say, look, this is just about the employees having an attorney present if they're going to talk to ICE. By default, that is going to slow down the process, right? Because if ICE comes into the building,
Let me get my
ICE
cigarette.
talks to somebody, and that person says, "Look, can't talk to you till a lawyer's present." Well,
That's
obviously, it's gonna
crazy.
take time
That's
for a lawyer to be
insane.
present, right? So, forgetting all of the restrictions that the lawyer may put on what the employee may actually say, just getting the lawyer to the point where they're present is going to take time. It could take hours. It might take days, right? So let's take a look at how Evers tries to explain himself.
Your administration recently directed state employees to not answer questions or hand over any documents if federal immigration officials would show up at state buildings. I'm curious why that directive.
Well, we also asked, suggested to them that we have an attorney in just about every area of our work, and so I just think if they come in, if ICE comes in and wants to talk to somebody, I think our attorney should be there, and then just
That's insane.
Are we going to stop ICE from doing whatever they're going to do? Absolutely not. But we want to make it fair for the people that are our employees. I think it's important that they have access to an attorney just for that interchange between ICE and one of our employees. You know, this may never happen, but we just want to make sure that our employees feel comfortable that their employer is standing with them. Simple as that.
Republicans this past week accused you of instructing employees to break federal law.
Yeah, that's like crap, to be honest with you. That's what they would say if no matter what. We're not encouraging them to break the law. In fact, one of the things that ICE is arresting people for, we're seeing now that, frankly, is no law breaking. And then what do you do? So I think having caution right up front, I think, is important, and giving our employees, we care for our employees. I think most employers in the state of Wisconsin that aren't government are concerned about the same thing. And you think about the farmers in the state of Wisconsin, they have all sorts of undocumented people, and, you know, if Donald Trump starts going after them, we will become a shadow of the state we are right now. We're not taking any rights away from ICE. Believe me, they run the show. We just want to make sure there's an attorney there, see the documents, what's going on. Can we do this simply?
And who's paying for this? We are.
Self-spread.
For them to have an attorney.
Now, the state of Wisconsin is not the only state with these types of policies. The state of Connecticut, the governor issued a letter similar to that of Evers. I'm going to show you that on the screen. And also in the state of Colorado, lawmakers are voting to have their constituents not work with ICE as well. So it seems like they're running a risk. I mean, will the governor of Colorado sign this into law? Would signing this sort of bill into law constitute, from Homan and from the federal government's perspective, would that constitute obstructing justice? I mean, we are in...
Absolutely, it will. Let me see if I can edit this. Can I edit this? I need to edit this title. I need to change the title. Oh, I'll probably edit it on YouTube.
Very murky legal times now, where there are a lot of questions that are coming up practically on a daily basis that need to be resolved. And we've
known cartel member, am I not to give that information anymore to our federal partners?
We're just elevating, that constitutional rights of everyone must be respected.
Representative Elizabeth Velasco, one of the...
First of all, you're not a citizen. You don't get rights. That's how I feel about it. You don't get no damn rights. You're not a citizen. You weren't born here. You walked across the damn border. Shit.
What time were you born in Brooklyn?
I was born and raised in Belgium.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your parents are?
I'm from both Burkina Faso.
Okay.
But actually, my mom was born in Côte d'Ivoire.
Okay.
Because my grandparents just moved to Côte d'Ivoire, so I have a lot of family in Côte d'Ivoire as well, and all my cousins and stuff. But originally, I'm from Burkina Faso.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's that one?
With the greatest leader, he kicked the French out.
No, from Burkina.
But I had the opportunities to start with young championships, and when I met the Burkina Faso delegate.
Okay, I'm not dealing with that. Let me delete that.
Arrested 4 people. Y'all, they just stopped a New Year's Eve terror plot that was gonna happen in California. I mean, this ain't just them just saying it to somebody, the wrong person, or making some online threats. This is really a plot that they had going on in less than 2 weeks. Not only that, how they got caught, they was testing out the bombs in the middle of the desert.
They've been able to film them. Here it is right here on your screen, testing these bombs out in the Mojave Desert. I understand we were just made aware at this press conference. It was after this video was taken that those arrests were made.
How is this not blowing up mainstream?
Hey, Therapy. Hey, love.
Being identified as an extremist group.
Over the weekend, my office, along with the FBI, arrested members of a far-left, anti-government domestic terror cell who self-identify as the Turtle Island Liberation Front. The individuals were arrested on Friday, December 12th, when the group attempted to construct and detonate IEDs out in the desert. In addition to the arrests, we executed several search warrants throughout the nation.
Not only that, they was planning to coordinate IED attacks in 5 different locations. The fuck? Just think about it. This could have been a bad attack, y'all. Come on. You got families, you got people celebrating things, you might be a big crowd, you got...
And these are the people that y'all protesting and trying to protect. This is insane. I got to change my title. I ordered me a new laptop today, Therapy.
If you're in this country illegally, you should be looking over your shoulder, expecting that the Border Patrol is going to show up, arrest you, prosecute you, and deport you.
Blaine Sector, talk to me about what we're doing and where we're at when it comes to border enforcement, both southern and northern border.
Border security is national security. It's important both the southern border and the northern border. And so I've made a commitment that I'm going to get to every sector within my first year on the job. I'm rounding that out. Probably should have picked some warmer times to come up here, but I did serve up here in Blaine as a deputy chief back in the day. And so wanted to get back up here and hear from the agents and find out what they're seeing so that we can make sure that we're adjusting to any of the traffic that may try to work its way around the southern border coming through the northern border.
What are you seeing and what concerns do you still have?
I'm always concerned because of the lack of manpower and technology that we have on the northern border. And so one of the things we've done is make it a huge part of our priority as we are sending more agents to the line. We're upfitting our northern border as well. So we're making sure we're getting the technology, the manpower up here to the northern border as well. As you've seen in the coastal, we knew that once we started squeezing that balloon along the southern border, it was going to push that traffic to somewhere, right? It's the greatest country in the world. As long as it's the greatest country in the world, people are still going to try to get here by any means necessary. And so we need to make sure that we don't let the northern border go unbalanced. I think the big reason why we're seeing the huge decrease on the northern border is we're no longer pulling all these northern border agents down to the southern border to help process massive amounts of illegal immigrants like the Biden administration was pushing into this country.
Facts.
Allowing these agents to remain up here and do what they're supposed to do, which is control that border. And so our number one priority is always going to be the line, whether that line is the northern border line, the southern border line, or the coastal. And so that's our number one priority. And so making sure that we're keeping the agents that are up here doing that job and doing that enforcement, as well as supplying them with additional manpower and technology.
When you consider that, what was done over the last 4 years, and then President Trump coming in, the task that you guys have in front of you, you've got joint operations, all the different agencies, multi-agency approach.
Look, did you, Therapy, you know they was trying to do a coup in China. That was my first video. The top military was caught in China selling their nuclear plans to the CIA.
Once he becomes deportable for the second time, remember, he was deportable the first time and actually got deported. When he becomes deportable the second time, we're going to deport this individual. It's too bad that we have these activist judges that legislate from the bench and put MS-13 gang members back out on the streets from Americans. That's what we're doing in these American cities, are taking individuals like this, quote Maryland ad, out of circulation and putting them back where they need to be, and that's in the country of record.
All right, just keep an eye on him, because he could fly the coop and go to Chicago, just blend in the Bulls game. You gotta watch guys like this. They're slippery.
Once he becomes deportable for the second time, remember.
This the second time. And this is who y'all protesting about? Now you ain't gonna believe this shit. This messed me up. Let me turn this up. They got voodoo dolls.
The Venezuelans and Colombians, y'all can get, man. Y'all didn't give me none of that money. Look what happened. Cardinum is not playing with y'all no more, man. You know when New Orleans get a hold to you too, man. Cardinum said, man, y'all didn't get them none of that money, man. Now they got the voodoo dolls up on y'all.
They done putting up voodoo dolls against ICE in New Orleans. But they keep talking about this other stuff to get away. Ain't nobody gonna forget about all that fraud up in Minnesota. Ain't nobody gonna forget about that.
Out in the desert. In addition to the arrests, we executed several search warrants throughout the nation. I want to thank our partners at the U.S. Attorney's Office for the West in their plot. Carol's bomb plot was explicit. It included a step-by-step instructions to build IEDs or improvised explosive devices, and listed multiple targets across Orange County and Los Angeles. Carol also made clear her desires. She said, quote, "What we are doing will be considered a terrorist act." Carol and Page also discussed plans for follow-up attacks after their bombings, which included
I agree with you, Therapy.
ICE agents and vehicles with pipe bombs. Carol stated that those plans would, quote, "take some of them out and scare the rest." Throughout early December, the co-conspirators discussed their plans during an in-person meeting in Los Angeles and through an encrypted messaging application. As part of the plan, the four defendants plan to build test bombs in the Mojave Desert. You're going to hear more details about the bombs they intended to build and how the operation went down in the desert here shortly from the FBI assistant director in charge. In preparation for the plan, the co-conspirators purchased multiple pieces of bomb-making materials and discussed their travel plans to the desert. Last Friday, December 12th, the defendants took a significant step to carry out their plans. They traveled to the remote campsite, which you're going to see some video of, in the desert, and they began unloading their bomb-making materials to assemble and test the bombs. They had everything they needed to make an operational bomb at that location, and they were subsequently arrested by the FBI before they could build a functional explosive device.
But these the people y'all protecting? Should seem to me sometimes this stuff should shit. Maybe if it happened, y'all get y'all mind right. Cause I ain't never seen no shit like this. This is insane.
You want to know what's really wild to me? Every time we see ICE enforce the law, the argument isn't about what happened.
This is Kingdom React.
People feel about what happened. You know what I'm saying? But today, feelings don't survive the facts. They never do here in the kingdom because, ICE didn't just warn them. They were ignored. And what followed wasn't politics. It was consequence.
ICE is telling us not only was this suspect illegally in the country, they had put a detainer on him that was not honored. In addition, it turns out he's been charged with multiple crimes in the past, including murder, seemingly with no consequences. Police spent a long time investigating at the home where this happened on Wednesday afternoon, and there are a lot of questions about why the crime was ever allowed to happen and why the suspect was free.
This is very shocking, that this happened in a neighborhood that's supposed to be safe.
Brian Del Cid lives very close to the home where the homicide happened. He says what's also shocking is that suspected shooter Marvin Morales Ortez had just been released from jail less than 24 hours before allegedly using this gun to shoot and kill a man.
It is
unbelievable.
He literally just got out yesterday.
Police remained on the scene investigating Wednesday night. The crime happened inside this home on Fanshell Court in Reston. Until Tuesday, Morales Ortez had been in jail facing charges for allegedly brandishing a gun and assaulting and injuring someone. He was released when the Fairfax County Commonwealth's Attorney's Office decided to drop the case. They told us in a statement, prosecutors were unable to move forward with the case because the victim told police that they were out of the country and would not be coming to court to cooperate in proceedings. Sadly, without the victim's necessary testimony, we could not move forward with the case. But this is not the first time the County Commonwealth's Attorney's Office has chosen not to press charges against Morales Ortez. Court records indicate since 2020, he's been charged with at least 7 crimes, including first-degree murder.
7 crimes, including first-degree murder. Where they do that at? That's why black folks need to sit this out. Because if it was us, you would have been charged 7 times, including first degree, and then still let out. Insane. And y'all protecting these motherfuckers.
In 2021, and every single time but one, prosecutors at some point decided not to move forward. The one time he was found guilty for a theft, he was fined, but records show he never paid it.
Wow. Okay. ICE flagged him. The jail ignored it. He was released. Hours later, tragedy. This wasn't a surprise.
Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Therapy, now that you got something to say, because now that I'm on my phone, it probably work better.
That excuse, at least. But the system then,
No, excuse me, that's a woman. Where's the lady officer? Get the lady officer. Get the lady
Now
officer.
this is Minneapolis.
Hands against the tree. What? What are you arresting me for? Why? Because why are you touching me? What have I done to you?
Oh, hold on. Notice I got a a little.
Okay, let me drop the link. I'm trying to paste the damn thing. Oh shit. Oh, now you want to do it. Yeah, I think it's gonna work a lot better now that I gotta work off my phone. There go the link.
Shortly after the defendants were taken into custody, the FBI executed
Oh
multiple
shit,
search
that was the
warrants,
wrong one.
including
Oh
at the
shit. Let me get back to where I was.
You want to know what's really wild? Mm-hmm. Oh, hold on. No, it's like that little. It's a little. Oh, please.
It's fucking insane. They were tasing people. This is fucking insane. Hey y'all, so I'm a U.S. citizen.
The amount of claps I did just in what, like, was that like 5 seconds?
There go the link.
I'm a U.S. citizen. Cool. That doesn't give you immunity. It does give you, responsibility, though. You don't get to rush federal agents, demand documents you don't understand, and, then act surprised when forced into the conversation. That wasn't random. You asked me, that was avoidable. All right? And while all of this is happening...
But these are the people that this shit is so Now wait till I show this shit with the Somali. You do see the link. Okay. All right. I wonder, is it going to show me when you hit it? I guess I'll figure it out. Now look at this shit.
Every 5 minutes in the United States, another body hits the floor from a drug overdose. By the end of today, that is almost 300 people. That is the same as a packed passenger jet dropping out of the sky every single day, and nobody hearing the crash. Now imagine this one foreign-backed network hiding behind diplomatic plates and charity papers, quietly feeding that death toll while sucking billions of dollars out of American taxpayers. This is not a border story. This is not just an immigration story. This is a war fought in welfare offices, embassy back rooms, and quiet suburbs while the country sleeps. And tonight we are going inside the command room where that war finally came into focus. It started before dawn in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Outside, the streets were silent, locked under a sheet of winter cold. Inside a federal command center, the air was hot and electric. A giant digital map of the United States glowed on the wall, pulsing with red markers. Each dot was a crime scene, a dead body, a fraud report, a missed warning. The alarms were no longer screaming, but the threat was still shouting in the data. For months, analysts had watched something they could not explain. A cluster of crimes, overdoses, and benefit fraud kept pointing back to the same origin. Hospital reports showed overdoses from counterfeit pills laced with fentanyl and methamphetamine. Police logs recorded sudden spikes in violent assaults, armed robberies, and trafficking. Social services flagged welfare accounts, draining money out of the country at an impossible rate. Every data stream told the same story. The curve was not slowly rising. It was surging. Overdose deaths up by several 100%. Violent assaults up by several 100%. Human trafficking notifications almost...
Now this in Minneapolis.
This was a pattern. The crime scenes looked random on the ground. A suburban gas station, a downtown nightclub, a cheap motel off the highway, a quiet apartment above a grocery store. But in the command center, every pin on the map was connected by a simple question: who was moving the money and who was moving the poison? Behind the statistics, one chilling estimate repeated like a drumbeat. A single drug trafficker can destroy the lives of 2,000, 3,000, even 5,000 people over a criminal career. Multiply that by a nationwide network, and you are not talking about crime anymore. You are talking about a slow-motion mass casualty event. Then came the intelligence that changed everything. Deep inside the reports, one name kept resurfacing: a Somali ambassador assigned to the United States. We will call him Raimi Farah. On paper.
a Somali ambassador to the United States. He got caught with drugs and $310 million seized. So y'all doing all these ICE shoots in Minneapolis, trying to cover up for all this damn fraud with these damn Somalis. Fuck
His
them.
job was diplomacy, cultural exchange, international cooperation. In reality, the data suggested something very different. His office was at the center of a cascade of false identities, suspicious bank transfers, and unexplained shipments arriving under diplomatic cover. If the intelligence was right, a foreign diplomat was not safeguarding his host country. He was exploiting it. The first layer of the scheme was almost invisible paperwork. Somalis and other foreign nationals entered the United States using forged or manipulated.
Okay, hold on. Danny, just show me add to stage. Oh, there you go. Hold on.
Hey, what's up, girl? You hear me?
Oh, wow. This works so much better on my phone.
That's what I was trying to tell you last time, because I don't know what was going on, because even like, I don't know what was going on, but you said it was working good from your other phone, and then
this is much better.
Yeah, how you doing,
Well, it'll
girl?
probably be better when I get my new laptop. It'll be here on a second.
But sometimes even on your laptop, if you have different screens open, it'll mess with your performance.
Right, but it's brand new, so it might work better. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to stay on this damn phone then.
No, but I'm saying, even though if you use your laptop, like what I had to do, like sometimes like you have to clean out a lot of things that's on there. Like sometimes like other programs be running when you don't even know they're running, and that messes with your performance on it. So you can, you know what I mean? So like for instance, when you go live on your laptop, when you get it, don't have nothing on there except you and StreamYard.
Well, I ain't gonna have nothing on there no way.
I'm talking
all
about
the information. This damn thing won't even turn on. I can't believe I did that dumb shit.
What you do?
I spilled my soup on it.
Yeah, well, you gotta eat. Everybody got. I'm ignorant like that. Shout out, R.I.P. to you, goddamn. Salute to that shit. You already know how it goes. But as far as your topic, I think those white people and the people out there, all these people saying is the color of skin. They not understanding Minnesota is heavily populated with illegal immigrants of both colors. And other people just looking like black and white on skin, but them white people, they got that temporary status is up in February. That goes for everybody. You remember when Trump said that?
Mm-hmm.
Look who he put on that third world country ban. And Gratistan.
It is damn near everybody.
Yeah, so people act like these white Russians and anchor babies. They think of anchor babies, they just think of Mexicans and shit. No. There's Russians, there are Jewish people that's in the Ukraine, there are Israel.
Go ahead. I'm about to
And then there's Irish. It's a whole bunch of white people that have been over here. The Italians, before they called them guaps, that mean guineas without papers. They considered themselves white. It's a whole lot of people that was considered white that write that on their paperwork. And
right there, I hear you.
It's a lot of white, and then the white people that was out there, like the white chick that got her ass dealt with getting in the middle of ICE. Just because she LGBT, she thought that mattered. No, you in the middle of business and you disrupting a federal situation. You don't see no FBA people out there trying to get in the middle of ICE.
Right.
None of them people.
Right, but just all these damn liberal white folks in there talking about I mean, this is
And then,
insane.
of course, you're gonna have your Sambo niggas, you know, that be in there, but them motherfuckers are Caribbean and African. They try to cosplay as us. They're not us. They're not FBA. You don't see no FBA people out there in the middle of ice handling business. Only people out there are immigrants. And then them anchor babies that think, oh, I've been here 30 years, so they can't do nothing to me. Bullshit. They getting your care folks up out of here. February 1st is temporary status is up. Ain't no war going on in no other country. Your great-grandparents and grandparents getting shipped the fuck out. Italy, goddamn it. Think of every white country you can think about. They getting shipped out. All them liberal white people you think, y'all going to. Why do you think that they going to the most extremes right now? Those people are not out there because, first of all, you're out there for no reason. If you're not an immigrant, why the fuck are you out there?
Right. It's insane. And look at the people. You can't make this shit up.
You can't make it up at all. And then think about it. If you're not an immigrant, why are you out there? That's just plain and simple.
And they keep talking. That last shooting, the man had a gun. He was licensed to carry.
But why are you out there with a gun trying to get in the middle of ice business?
Exactly.
Like, people, like, first of all, if you're not an immigrant or you're not protecting somebody that's an illegal immigrant or immigrant yourself, why the fuck are you out there? There's no reason.
And then I didn't get to that video. A black man was out there in Minneapolis messing with ICE. They tackled the fuck out of him and he ended up crying.
Yeah, but I'm saying, was he black though?
Yes, he was black. He was a
FBA
nigga.
black. Cause you know, a lot of times they be sending these motherfuckers, they'll send a nigga out there to do some dumb shit like that. And then if he make it, he make it. These be crash test dummies too.
Right, and then he ended up crying. And then he ended up crying.
Yeah, he crying because he was a dumbass. Because some of these people, a lot of these people be crisis actors and crash test dummies. You know what I mean?
I said George Soros got to be paying them a lot of money to act a fool.
No, all you got to do is give a nigga that don't have nothing else to lose. That's why his dumb ass is out there crying, because he know he's stupid for even taking that deal. Whatever he did wasn't nothing compared to what he into now. Now they gonna act like they don't know that nigga. You get me?
Right. I'm gonna show some more of this video because this is gonna be the last one.
Manipulated documents. Once inside, they move through the system.
This is the Somalia ambassador to the U.S. that caught with all with bricks and $310 million. Watch this shit.
Disability claims, child care assistance, food support, housing vouchers. Individually, none of this looked unusual in a generous nation that tries to help the vulnerable. But stacked together at scale, the numbers were brutal. Over years, investigators would confirm that at least $1 billion in welfare and public benefits had been taken by this network alone, with credible warnings that the true loss might be closer to $8 billion.
$1 billion.
But the white people that's over there,
$8 million.
Think about it. The white people that's over there with them in Minnesota been in on this fraud for the longest. Think about Waltz. That don't sound American. Where he sound like he from? You sound like he from somewhere else, don't it? They gonna get rid of his ass too.
Oh yeah. Well,
people,
he's not running. He's not running.
No, he ain't running, but he running. But where he gonna go?
Right.
You cannot take that kind of money from the U.S. and be able to go anywhere.
Well, Trump sent them a bill, what they got to pay back, and Gavin Newsom. But let me get back to this.
Oh yeah, they got to.
That money did not stay in struggling communities. It moved quietly, relentlessly, out of local bank branches and electronic benefit cards through shell companies into remittance services and encrypted apps, and finally overseas. Somalia, Turkey, the Gulf states, accounts controlled by an Al-Qaeda-linked terrorist group known as Al-Shabaab. This was not just fraud, it was a pipeline. American tax dollars intended for school lunches, medical care, and rent were being siphoned into the war chests of extremists. And the pipeline did not just send money out, it pulled weapons and drugs back in. From chemical plants in China to cartel routes in Mexico, fentanyl powder and methamphetamine were shipped north, handed off to Somali gang cells inside the United States, and distributed into neighborhoods that had never seen this level of violence before. Every pill looked like a harmless prescription. Every bag looked like a quick high. Every sale pushed another family toward collapse. At this point, one senior official gave a warning that stunned even hardened agents. He said in plain language that the country might have to treat high-level traffickers like enemy combatants, that anyone caught bringing the poison in should face the harshest possible consequences. The comment sparked outrage, but inside the command room, no one could ignore the anger behind it. They had seen the bodies. They had seen the families. They had watched entire blocks change in a single year. The question now was simple and terrifying. How do you dismantle a network that is shielded by diplomatic immunity, buried inside social programs, and spread across multiple states?
Wow.
In the form of a single encrypted
You know what? You know how they get them with diplomatic immunity? Do like Trump did, go over in their country and get their ass and bring them back over here. That's how you do it. Hold their country accountable.
He's arrested. We're going to get to that. He's arrested.
But look,
but wait till you get to how much drugs they found.
No, I ain't surprised that this is the thing. In China, you get caught selling anything like fentanyl or whatever. That's death or life.
Right. And they kill you.
And then, but China is in on it. So what Trump did is like, since you want to give them diplomatic immunity, I'm finna come over there and get their ass and bring their ass back to the U.S. where that's an attack on the U.S. I've always said since COVID, y'all ain't got to wait on the bomb. You are the bomb.
Right. I agree with that.
It's always been chemical warfare since before COVID. Trump tried to tell them before they kicked him out. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
He said close down all the borders, land, air, and sea. Didn't he say that?
Yep.
He said that's that Chinese virus coming over here. They ignored it, talking about he racist. Look what happened. Open up the borders to all these motherfuckers.
And all that money Fauci sent to Wuhan to create the damn disease.
But I know one thing right now, that temporary status is up February 1st, and they acting like that don't exist. Look up when temporary status is up.
I want to finish doing. I want to finish this. Hold on.
Yeah.
Armored vehicles rolled out from staging areas near the interstate. Their engines were low and heavy lights dimmed sirens off. Helicopters moved overhead, slow and deliberate, their rotors beating like war drums. On the radios, voices were calm. Federal Bureau of Investigation, Homeland Security, State Police, local deputies. More than 900 badges moving with one objective: break the network before sunrise. The first target looked harmless. A plain house on a quiet residential street. No bars on the windows. No fancy cars in the driveway. A place you would drive past without a second glance. But infrared cameras had shown movement inside at strange hours. and undercover teams had reported the constant arrival of packages and late-night visitors. As the strike team approached, the back door exploded open. A man burst out with a rifle in his hands, eyes wide, lungs full of panic. Before he could raise the barrel, a flashbang grenade cracked against the concrete. The night turned white. The sound tore through the air. When the smoke cleared, he was on the ground, stunned weapon kicked away. Inside the house, agents found cash stuffed into envelopes, disposable phones wrapped in foil, and a kitchen table covered with forms, bank cards, and handwritten ledgers. This was not a family home. It was an administrative node of the network. Across town, a raid on a warehouse went loud. Agents forced their way through a reinforced steel door using hydraulic tools. The front area looked like a normal import business, boxes of cheap merchandise, dusty shelves, a forklift idle by a loading dock. But behind a false wall, they found the real cargo. Hundreds of pounds of narcotics packed in plastic fentanyl pills, methamphetamine crystals, heroin bricks, stacked like cinder blocks. The street value was estimated in the tens of millions of dollars. Enough poison to wipe out a small city. On a major highway.
And this who y'all protecting, these damn Somalis?
No, but no, the only people that you see out here doing this, I told people back way before when they got rid of Trump the first time, you trying to tell people about it. It's going to be a chemical war. You are the bomb. They ain't finna spend billions of dollars on one bomb when they can just spend billions on goddamn it. The little billion that they spend on drugs is way cheaper than goddamn building a bomb. Just give them fentanyl. Spread that shit
but
out.
you see how much he got caught with? Hold on. It's on
That shit is lightweight.
Hold on, but this is the Somali ambassador in Minneapolis. Hold on.
The team confronted a delivery truck trying to break through a roadblock. Tires screamed, metal groaned, wheels locked. Shots were fired into the engine block, not at the driver stopping the vehicle before it could plow through officers. When agents yanked open the back doors, the scale of the operation became painfully clear. Duffel bags filled with rifles and handguns lay in rows, wrapped carefully in cloth. Serial numbers were ground off, erased from existence. Each weapon was a future homicide waiting to happen. The most violent clash came in an industrial yard behind abandoned buildings. Two armed men had taken positions on a rooftop watching the approach routes. When the tactical team moved in, muzzle flashes erupted from above. Bullets tore chunks from concrete and sent sparks from metal rails. Officers advanced behind ballistic shields step by step under the hammering thud of a helicopter spotlight. After a tense standoff, both shooters surrendered. No officers died that night. It was a miracle. All of this was just the opening phase. The final target before sunrise was the embassy office that had triggered so many red flags. On the outside, it looked exactly like what it claimed to be a diplomatic building. A flag on a pole, a polished brass plaque by the door. People in suits walking in and out during the day. But drones flying overhead at night had seen something different. Heavy packages arriving at strange hours. Lights burning nonstop. Boxes going in, almost nothing going out. Because the office belonged to a foreign government, true embassy facilities would be off limits without extreme measures. But this particular building, labeled a commercial coordination office, sat in a legal gray zone. It could be entered with the right authorization. After weeks of surveillance, federal lawyers signed off. The order came in one line of text, authorized entry. At a little after 10 o'clock, breach teams moved on the rear service door. A small explosive charge went off with a fast, brutal crack. The door flew inward, and the hallway filled with shields and rifles. A man in a suit sprinted for the stairs, clutching a laptop like a life raft. He made it halfway before agents drove him into the wall. Downstairs, two other men were trying to burn files in a metal trash can. Papers curled and blackened under the flames. Hard plastic from memory drives began to melt. A firefighting blanket smothered the blaze just in time. Even scorched, the documents were readable. At first glance, the rooms looked like any cramped office. Desks, printers, file cabinets. But the details were wrong. No cultural materials, no briefing binders on diplomacy, No diplomatic cables or policy notes. Instead, there were binders stuffed with identity documents, passports, and government forms. Folders labeled with city names instead of departments. Envelopes with public benefit cards bundled by week and month. Behind a false wall, agents found a narrow room humming with electronics. 7 computer servers stacked on metal shelves, each connected to a satellite link, still actively pushing data. Technicians rushed in, severed the lines, and began cloning drives. Later, forensic analysis would show digital traffic bouncing from this building through multiple countries and into private accounts controlled by the same network they had been tracking for months. The most chilling discovery came from a simple blue folder sitting under a paperweight. Inside were page after page of names, phone numbers, addresses, and benefit account details. Some names were marked as arrived, others marked as processing, others as sent. At the bottom of one ledger, written in neat block letters, was a note 10% for security, followed by the name of the terrorist group the analyst already feared. In that moment, the room went quiet. No one needed a briefing. They all understood what they were looking at. This was not a small-time scam. This was a system. By the time the sun crept over the city, the numbers from the raids were staggering. Dozens of locations hit, dozens of suspects detained, millions of dollars in cash seized, hundreds of pounds of narcotics removed from circulation, more than 100 illegal weapons recovered, not a single civilian killed. On paper, it looked like a complete victory. But for the agents watching the data wall, it was only the beginning. The deeper they dug into the seized files, the more the map on the wall lit up. The documents from the coordination office revealed a network of shell companies spread across multiple states, logistics firms that had no trucks, import businesses with no legitimate goods, empty storefronts with active bank accounts moving millions of dollars every year. In one small industrial park, a supposedly abandoned warehouse
Man, I'm going to the end now.
inside, agents found stacks of cash carefully wrapped. It exploited one. It used the language of charity, the appearance of culture, and the paperwork of assistance as camouflage. The danger came from a specific group of actors who learned how to weaponize compassion.
With all that going on, they still couldn't kick in your door and goddamn take that batter out the goddamn smoke detector.
Cabinet
What the fuck?
intelligence chiefs and senior advisors listened as investigators laid out the case. What they heard was not a story about sloppy oversight or a few bad applications. It was a description of national security infiltration. A foreign-backed criminal enterprise had used American laws, American welfare programs, and American trust to build and fund a pipeline that strengthened a terrorist organization abroad and destabilized communities at home. The financial breakdown was brutal. Tens of millions of dollars in fraudulent benefits confirmed in just a few months of records. Tens of millions more moved through shell companies. Millions hidden behind fake charities. Millions routed through encrypted apps. The projected 10-year loss to taxpayers, more than $8 billion. And wherever the money went, violence followed. When the briefing ended, the decision was simple, even if the road ahead was not. More resources, more arrests, aggressive removal proceedings for foreign nationals tied to the operation, a nationwide audit of similar schemes in other states. Law enforcement was told to treat this not as a local.
And that's who y'all protesting. That's who they protesting.
They did all that, but they didn't kick your door in and get that damn smoke detector you got in your background, man. Damn.
Well, it only bother you.
It do. My cousin got one that he just be like, it ain't bothering me. I'm like, you know what, my nigga, you know you got it. God damn, just take that motherfucker down. Take the battery out. Maybe you don't care about if that motherfucker can catch on fire. Just goddamn, that motherfucker, you don't hear that? Like, during your broadcast, you can hear it. And it's steady beeping. Motherfuckers be noticing that shit. I'm like, come on, man, take that motherfucker down. Shit, hit it with a broom and take it down. Something. I don't know. They doing all the raids. If they listen to your live, they'll probably kick your door in just to kick that motherfucker off the wall and just keep it pushing. God damn. You don't hear that?
Nope.
It's content for
No.
not.
But you got any closing comments? It's 1:36. I'm about to go to bed. I gotta get up in the
Yeah,
morning.
all that is people that look black and people that they get to do shit. And them people, nobody that's born bred American is out there blocking ICE. And then February 1st is coming up soon. Temporary status is no war in your country. So
And he
every
not giving no money to any sanctuary state. None. They get
none.
zilch.
And then they got to pay back all this money that they've been letting them get away with because Tim Walz is going to jail. Like these people are going to jail for even allowing it. Ain't no goddamn more.
And I'm sure, and Elon Omar, that bitch worth $30 million. She going to jail too.
Oh, she going to jail. Ain't no doubt about it. It's nowhere she can spend no kind of money because everybody on that list that Trump got, he coming into their country and they know they can't fuck with the U.S. when it comes to
They
military.
already went to Kenya. They was building all them buildings, moving to Kenya, and
Hey,
Kenya
but
government is cooperating.
everybody that stole money from this motherfucker, the Democrats that opened their border, Biden going to jail, his son going, all the motherfuckers, Obama, all of them going. They going to jail. Look at the shit they doing. They let open. They did the shit on purpose because they knew they couldn't win. They just opened the border and that created a civil war on U.S. soil. Do you know how dangerous? Like that is treason. You know do you know the goddamn repercussions of treason? That shit is death.
Yeah.
Obama.
Well, you see the Clintons on. They didn't even honor the subpoena. They did not go before Congress. They denied it. So now they hold them in contempt now.
Yeah, because they going. Bill and Hillary. They going. I'm telling you, it's a lot of Democrats going. Especially during when COVID hit. You understand? They opened them borders on COVID and we watched it happen. Like, who the fuck told them people they come over here like that? The Democrats, everybody has something to do with it. Tim Walz going to jail for sure. And he getting deported along with his family. It's going to be a lot of white people getting deported with handcuffs February 1st. And for people that don't know what temporary status is, do you know what that is?
Temporary protection status.
Yeah.
It's only temporary.
But look how long they've been doing that. They only got that because when they people go to war, it extends their visa they already overstayed for 30 years. That's why Trump didn't go to war with nobody. You're like, ain't no war going on. We getting all of y'all. That's why they doing the most right now. Ain't nobody got no love for y'all. Y'all not even Americans.
Exactly. But they protesting for these people. This is unbelievable.
You know, the only people protesting are people like, well, they anchor babies, but they got something for them too.
No, it's a whole lot of white people out there protesting liberals in Minneapolis.
No, but people act like white people ain't anchor babies too. That's my point. Trump done already showed you. White people going to. Like people like, oh, they ain't gonna do nothing to white people. Bullshit. Watch what happened on February 1st. Why do you think it was a lot of white people and motherfuckers that love white people jumping in the way of ICE? You don't see no LBAs jumping up there. Not no ones with common sense. Because the only ones you got jumping up there is somebody got something to lose. But 90% of that shit is.
No, you don't see no FBAs, but I guess the black folk in Minneapolis is something different.
Nah, they immigrants. All of them are third
No, they're not.
generation immigrants.
No, they're not.
Bullshit.
They're not. And the two ladies that got arrested were going in that church. Them black ones, they was the first ones that got picked up. And I'm like, you can't make this up. What did I just do with my
No,
phone?
listen to what I'm saying. No black person is in the middle of this shit unless they're getting paid to crash out. That's it. Because if you look at the record of these people, if they were to get killed or something, you'll see like they'll be like, well, look at their record. But you can look their record up now. Nobody in their right mind, foundational black American, would be in the middle of this shit. These are legal immigrants, third, fourth generation motherfuckers trying to make
The
something
two
happen.
ladies that got arrested were black Americans. With
But-
going in that church, they were black Americans. And then the one that got arrested today, he
Can
was
you-
a black American. But they something different. But I'm about to get out. I gotta go.
Yeah, like you said, they something different.
Yep. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment.
Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, therapy. Yep, I gotta change this title. All right, love you. See you later.
Love you and catch you later.
All right.